Hey, Ghoul Friends, it's me, Adrian, or Ayden. Either way, I am still your host, and you are still listening to Susto, the podcast of ooky, spooky, scary stories. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in once again, and if this is your first time, welcome to the Susto fam. Thank you for being here. I super appreciate it. Y'all, big news. If you have not seen on the social medias, that's at Susto Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, I posted a video about something that happened, some big news that I got. I am so excited, so thrilled, and so honored to announce that Susto has been selected as a winner of the Gotham Film and Media Institute and the Variety Audio Honors. This is an award presented by, of course, the Gotham Media Institute, Variety Magazine, and by Wondery. Again, if you've already seen the video online, you saw that I got a little emotional in that video. That is nothing compared to how emotional I was when I got the actual email. I'm already a pretty emotional person. So of course, when I got the email, I was extremely excited, almost in disbelief. I actually didn't think it was real for a second. And I didn't want to say anything until this was set in stone, until it had been published. So if you did see on the socials, I believe I posted the link to the announcement, and I'll go ahead and post that again. There's going to be an awards presentation that's going to be happening mid-October, and I am going to be going to accept the award in person. I'm so beyond excited. I just want to give you a huge thank you for listening, for commenting, for subscribing, reviewing, signing up to be a patron, sending me messages, sharing your stories, anything. Anyone who has ever engaged with Susto, anyone who's ever enjoyed it or shared it, I truly thank you from the depths of my haunted heart, and I cannot express my gratitude enough to you all. This is a form of validation that I didn't even know I needed, because again, you all make doing this so worth it, and you make it so exciting, and this is just like a cherry on top, you know. And it also, to be honest, it makes me excited to think of, you know, what else can Susto accomplish? What else can we accomplish together, right? I'm one of 10 that was selected. So congratulations to all of the other shows. They are in the link, but just to give them a quick shout out, the shows are Bag Ladies, Marijuanera, Misrepresented, Teenager Therapy, Girl Tales, Translash, Out There, Tellaway 411, and The 11th. So congratulations to all you winners. I'm so excited to meet everyone. I'm so excited to go share more about Susto to people that may have not heard about it, who are going to be at this event. I will definitely be posting updates online about my trip to New York and about this event. As much as I'm able to, I'm going to try to keep your eyes peeled for that. A part of the Audio Honors Award is being featured in a write-up in Variety Magazine. So something that is extremely wild to me that I never thought I would say is Susto is going to be featured in Variety Magazine, of course, alongside the other winners of this award. That's just straight wild to me. I still can't believe it. I probably won't fully process it until I'm able to get a copy of the magazine and look at it and see the word Susto in there and my picture and me talking about it. So again, I'm so excited to see what's in store. One last update before we jump into the episode. I am doing a giveaway of Flavia Zidrago's book and plushie for Gustavo the Shy Ghost. So if you have not heard already, Flavia was a guest on Susto many moons ago. She is an illustrator and author from Mexico City, and she wrote a children's book, Gustavo the Shy Ghost. She has done other work, of course, but when she was on the show, we talked about Gustavo the Shy Ghost, which is an amazing, beautiful, heartwarming children's story, but of course, anybody can enjoy it. I have a copy myself. Flavia and Barnes & Noble launched an exclusive edition of Gustavo the Shy Ghost and a plushie. It is so cute. I screamed, if you haven't seen the TikTok that I made for it, when I saw the plushie, because it is so adorable. So for the giveaway, I'm doing 2 sets. I'm going to give away a book and a plushie to anybody on social media. You can check out the social media pages for how to enter, and that is by liking the post, by tagging your Ghoul Friends in the comments, following Susto and Flavia on the platform that you're commenting. This is going to be 1 entry per person, and the winners are going to be announced on Halloween. That's October 31st. It's a Monday this year, so follow the social medias to see if you won. I will try to do a live stream of some sort so that everybody can tune in. There's going to be a second giveaway, so I'm giving away a second second book and plushie. If you are a patron, that automatically enters you. You do not have to do any of the stuff on social media. It does not give you an extra entry. It's just a smaller pool. Any questions, let me know. I will not hesitate to explain them. Again, I'm giving away 2 prizes. It's going to be a book and a plushie for each winner. Check out social medias, check out Patreon. Thank you so much. So as you've seen already, today's episode is a Letters from the Beyond episode, one of my favorite kinds of episodes. If you have your own scary stories that you want me to share on the show, you already know how to do that. You can send them to me at an email. That's sustopodcast@gmail.com. You can send them in a DM to the socials at sustopodcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or you can leave it in a 5-star review wherever you're listening if you're able to review on the app that you're listening on. Also, it doesn't have to be a written story. It can be a photo, video, audio recording, whatever. I will share it. If not on the show, then on the socials. Thanks to y'all so much for listening. Keep writing in so I can keep doing these Letters from the Beyond episodes. I love hearing from y'all. I love sharing your stories. Ultimately, that is why Susto was made, is because it's about recreating that feeling of sharing these stories with your friends, with your family, whoever, and connecting on a level of fear is something that I said recently. I think it's so interesting that we have fun, the people who listen to this show, connecting on a level of fear. Y'all are a bunch of weirdos. I love you. Let's get into today's show. The first story that I have is sent in from Daniela on Instagram, and Daniela says, "My uncle was a mechanic in Mexico for many years. When I was around 7 years old, a big accident happened close to our town. There were so many cars involved that my uncle asked my mom if he could park some of them behind our house because we had space there. He parked like 7 cars. Me, being a chismosa, I wanted to look at the cars, so I went to the back by myself. While I was out there, I could see the damaged cars, broken mirrors, and other stuff. While I was looking inside one of the cars, I saw a small, black shadow pass between 2 of the cars. I got scared and left running to my house. I told my mom what I saw, and she called my uncle. He told her that it was probably a dog or something else, but she told him that she didn't want those cars with such negative energy in her home. My uncle came and moved them the next day." So, okay, listen, we are always talking about this on this show, right? That whenever there are traumatic events, if they're big enough, if they are traumatic enough, there is that impression of energy that can be left behind. That's what I believe. That is my theory behind a lot of these stories. And I feel like this fits right into that theory. You start off the story by saying that there was a big accident, that there was 7 cars that he had to park at your house because of this accident. Whether those cars were involved in the accident or they were cars that he just was able to move from his lot to your backyard. I know that's one of my biggest real life fears, is getting in a bad car accident. This huge accident happened close to your town, so bad that your uncle had to put 7 of those cars in your backyard. There had to have been some energy tied to those cars, even if those people survived the accident and they were okay, which I hope they were, but you still put out that energy of fear. It's like with cats. So when we had our cat Milton, when he was still with us, and we would have to take him to the vet, he would come back and smell like the vet's office, and that would freak out our other cat. And so then she would start growling, and the way my boyfriend explained it to me is that basically the cats let off this pheromone that signals fear. And so if one of them does it, the other one can smell it or sense it, and then it freaks them out. It makes me think, maybe not like a pheromone secretion that happens with us as humans, but you can listen to almost any episode of Susto, and I have talked about this, that we leave these impressions of energy when something traumatic happens. And again, this one is just another one that kind of fits into that. So this next submission is from Erika, and Erika is actually someone that I've known since I was in junior high school. I'm so excited that she wrote in and shared these stories with us. There were so many good stories that Erika shared, but for now we're going to jump right into it. We lived in a house in McAllen for about 10 years. My parents were going to buy the home but couldn't come up with a down payment, so they pulled out of the offer. The owners told my parents, "Please don't worry about it. We want the house to go to a good family. You can live here. Don't worry about the down payment. Pay us as you can." My parents took them up on the offer and we moved in shortly after. The owners of the home had a small RV outside, and that's where they lived while we settled in our new home. The entire time we lived there, my parents never told me any of these things until I got older. It wasn't until after we moved out that my parents and older brother began opening up about all their experiences, and I opened up about mine. It was in that conversation that my parents asked me not to share anything with my little brother. My parents' experiences. They would be watching TV in our living room, and my little brother would line up his green little soldiers on top of the TV, when all of a sudden, they start to fly off the TV and onto the floor as my parents watched. We were all in the kitchen having dinner when our clothes hangers flew onto the kitchen floor from the next room. No one was in the next room, which was the washroom. I remembered sitting there, thinking they must have fallen from the dryer, but we all just looked at each other and didn't say a word. When I got older, and only after my parents opened up about that house did I realize that the dryer was further from the door, and it would have been impossible for the hangers to fall so far. While my parents would be sleeping in their bedroom in the middle of the night, they would be startled by a loud crash in their restroom. My little brother had a small plastic boat that he'd play with while he took a bath. The boat was always on a shelf by the sink to dry off after use. That boat would be in the empty bathtub when my parents turned on the light to see what happened. They would put the boat back on the shelf, and again it would end up in the bathtub. This happened about 2 to 3 times on one night and periodically thereafter. My mom once walked in her bathroom, and her robe pockets were stuffed with my little brother's toys. My brother had spent the night at his friend's house and wasn't home when that happened, so it clearly wasn't him. My mom walked in her restroom, and both the sinks in the master bathroom had paper stuffed in the drain and the water was on. Again, my little brother was not home at the time it happened. My dad would be getting dressed in the morning for work, and in the mirror as he was shaving, he saw my brother's toy turtle fly from the sink counter into the bathtub. My poor dad just kept shaving and didn't want to put the turtle back where it was. There was one time my mom and I were arguing, as all mothers and daughters do, and I remember closing the door to her bedroom after the argument. I distinctly remember I gently closed it because my mom would have come after me if I had slammed it. There was a mirror hanging on the back of the door. I went back in to give my mom another point to my argument, and I found her on the floor with glass shoved in her foot. She said, "I was screaming for you, didn't you hear me? I didn't slam the door, and I didn't hear my mother call my name." Our rooms were right across from each other. That one still gives me chills. We as a family had been arguing a lot with each other, and I remember my mom saying, "I'm going to have someone come bless this house." My mom's brother is a pastor, and she asked him to come pray over us and our home. I remember that day because he came with the priest as well. That day, my mom was feeling really ill. My uncle and the priest went through each room and prayed over every corner of the house. When they got to my parents' room, my mom projectile vomited. I had never seen that, and she wasn't sick before that day. They continued to pray, and she continued to vomit. It was so weird. We had a pool outside, and when they got to the outdoor area, the surface of the pool started rippling. It was a typical hot, humid day, and there was no breeze in sight. The priest that was with my uncle said, "There's a heavy mess in this house. We will have to come back a couple of times." They came back 3 times. Things would calm down for a while, and then they would start back up. My mother used to say she'd seen a tall man walking in our kitchen, but it was a shadow of a person. My experiences. I was once in the shower and I heard my mom's voice call me. I yelled back and said, "I'm in the shower." Again, I heard my mom call me. I said, "Mom, what? I'm taking a shower." I heard it for a 3rd time. I turned off the water pretty annoyed, wrapped myself in a towel and walked out yelling, "Mom, where are you? What do you need, Mom?" I walked through the whole house, opened the door, and saw that no one was home. There were no cars there. I blew it off at the time and thought I had just been hearing things. I didn't know my family was experiencing their own things. I was in my room talking on the phone with my friends, and I remembered I stood up to look for something, and both my knees caved in as if something had hit my knees from the back, and I fell to the ground. I got up, and it happened again. I kept trying to pull myself up from the floor, and it happened about 4 times. I remember telling whoever I was talking to, "Wow, I can't stand up. I don't know what's going on with my legs." Again, I just blew it off because I had no clue. I once had my cousin sleep over, and we were watching TV. It was late, and she said, "I'm so tired, but I want to watch something funny." I remember just then the channel changed while neither of us had the remote control in our hands. I got up, turned the TV off, and we covered our heads to fall asleep. I know, but we just went to sleep and didn't even talk about it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and the rest of Erika's stories are going to be in the next Letters from the Beyond. I'm so sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger like that, but Erika's stories were just so good to put all of them in one big episode. And I also wanted to feature other people's stories on an episode. So again, thank you, Daniela and Erika, for sending those in. Tune into the next episode. If you have your own scary stories, please send those in. You guys, it doesn't matter if it's a shorter story or if you have a really long story or if you have a bunch of short experiences like Erika did. Any of these experiences, I love hearing about. I would love to also see and hear them if it's a video or an audio recording, especially if it's one of those. I love stuff like that. You've seen in the past, if you've been following Susto for a while, that I've posted videos where people have caught either movement that is unexplained or disembodied voices. So definitely feel free to send those in along with a written story. I look forward to telling the rest of Erika's stories and hearing more from other people. Again, send your scary stories to sustopodcast@gmail.com. DM it to any of the Susto socials. That's at Susto Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And again, thank you all so much. I'm so excited to go on this trip and accept this award, not only for me, but for you all. If you haven't already, please do me a big favor and leave a rating or a review wherever you are listening to Susto. Before I go, huge shout out to the October patrons. That's Ashley, Michael, Emilia, Marlene, Nere, Ashes, Jenny, Brenda, Denise, Anna, Desiree, Monica, Jeannie, Cami B, Julie, Lori, Karen, Julianne, Mandy, Angela and Co, Sam, Josette, Victoria, Dee, Eva, Mario, April, Spooky Lou, Ale, Rachel, Sadie, and Liza. Oh my God. I'm so happy that people are enjoying Susto as much as I always have. Also, remember that the Flavia Zidrago Gustavo the Shy Ghost giveaway is still happening. Love Flavia's work so much. Again, if you haven't heard that episode, Flavia is an author and illustrator. She was a guest on Susto, many moons ago. I'm so excited to see how her work has grown. She is right now in Target. She designed this year's Dia de los Muertos line. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I know a lot of it is already sold out. Some of the items are very hard to find, which makes me excited for her and excited for the culture. So if you haven't, check Target out, check out this year's line of Dia de los Muertos stuff, and you will see Flavia's name and picture on it. It's so exciting. I will talk to you all to the next one, and keep the chisme coming. Bye.